These college dorms are absolutely insane and we need to break it down.
Now, some people might call this an addiction.
Basically was $8,888.
People like to fake looking rich online and it's becoming an issue. From Labubus to knockoff products to $20,000 dorms, this mindset is spreading to every corner of the internet. First, let's talk about this whole rich Labubu situation.
Truly, it is a terrible day to have eyes because what the am I looking at?
Labubus have broken the internet and quite honestly my faith in humanity.
Whenever Pop Mart drops a new Labubu, it sells out within minutes.
Now, some people might call this an addiction. They're right.
By now, you've probably heard about Labubus because there's like 2.5 million videos on them. Everybody and their mom has made a video about them. But if you don't know what they are, here's a quick explanation. Labubus are these plush dolls that have recently gone viral, and it seems like everybody is buying one. And because everybody's buying one, they've started to get more expensive. In fact, there was a life-size one that recently sold for $170,000. That's crazy. For this thing, look at this thing, $170,000.
On June 10th, a life-size Labubu doll sold for a jaw-dropping $170,000 at an auction in Beijing.
Some people call them cute, and then there's other people like myself that are terrified they're gonna come to life and take over the world. Hey Jordan, I wanna introduce you to my friend. Awesome, where is he? He's right there. Like I said a minute ago though, because so many people are buying them, they've started to become more expensive and people are using them as a way to flex. Which look, admittedly, I'm not a trendsetter by any means. I mean, my closet mainly consists of white shirts. But am I crazy for not seeing the appeal in these things? I want you to look me in the eyes right now and tell me you find these things cute. You can't do it. I guarantee you can't do it. Anyways, people go crazy for these things and we could definitely talk about the overconsumption side of it, but that's something that everybody's talking about when it comes to Labubus. So I specifically want to focus on the flexing side of it. Between using them as charms, flexing your collection, and the mega hauls, in many cases, these have become a way of showing off status.
Baby, if you don't jingle when you walk, you have no reason to talk.
I mean, these three Labubus, known as the Three Wise Labubu, have sold for almost $26,000. This one, which looks like it's wearing a potato sack, sold for a little over $31,000. Then this one, simply known as Tall Brown Labubu, I can see the Labubu creative department really outdid themselves with that one. This one sold for $140,000. So needless to say, in at least some shape or form, these have become a symbol of status, which that in itself is fine. Like if you want to buy a $170,000 life-size Labubu, go crazy. Go buy it. But the issue comes when you start making Labubus a part of your identity and then you use them as a way to flex your wealth. And I've seen so many videos of people flexing Labubus specifically so you can see how wealthy they are. And that kind of materialistic behavior has been linked to so many negative effects, but I'll talk about that more in a moment. Now I want to talk about designer dorms. Every year, dorm tour videos circulate around the internet. We get to see beautifully decorated dorms, people giving dorm tours of random people's rooms. Then we get into rich territory with designer dorms. And just like it sounds, this is the type of dorm that focuses on turning dorms into high-end living spaces.
These college dorms are absolutely insane and we need to break it down. And as your price breakdown fairy godmother, I did exactly that. Let's get into it.
What's crazy to me about this whole situation is the insane amount of money that is being put into these dorms. And the thing is, you don't even live in a dorm all year round. It's like a temporary living space. Like I would get spending this much if it was a house or even like a long-term apartment. But the fact you're only in this dorm for a relatively short amount of time, that just seems crazy that you would spend that much money for that. Also, most college kids are broke. So when you're doing something like this, when you're flaunting this much wealth, it's almost immediately placing your status above other people, whether it's purposely or not. Which again, I'm not saying that in itself having all this is bad, but it definitely depends on how you act and how you behave that can determine the motive or if this is good or not. Hey, do you want to check out my dorm? Sure, let's go check it out. Here it is. Whoa, this is so nice. Yeah, I guess I'm just like more rich than you. It's whatever.
Okay, so her mother is actually an interior designer. This picture's $230, $153, $135, $240, $240. You know what? I just need to go $47 to a dorm trash can. That was $240. And just go dumpster diving. The curtain rod, I believe, were custom made. A custom neon sign, I'm just guessing $23. Over $1,900 for that chest and $800 for this and $160 for that lamp. $16, $77. I found this for $30 on Amazon. About $200 for the fitted sheets. $15.60 for that chair. $19.50 for the rug. $1,000 for her dresser.
I don't know how accurate everything in this video is, so take this with a grain of salt. But assuming that everything in this video is accurate, some of this stuff I don't see how you can justify without saying it's just to show off your wealth. For example, the chair that's almost $1,600, the rug that's almost $2,000, and not to mention all the expensive pieces that could have been bought for cheaper. Honestly, it doesn't seem like the point is to live better, but instead to look better. And just like the Labubu situation, I think that this can speak to something deeper. Which, let's talk about the chair. If I owned a chair that expensive, I don't even know if I'd want to look at it because I'd be so afraid that somehow I would develop telekinetic powers and break it. I would be terrified of doing anything to that chair, let alone sitting in it. Why is a chair even that expensive? It looks like it should be chasing Pac-Man or something. Like, what is going on here? Now let's talk about the whole knockoff luxury item culture.
Super fakes, a new kind of designer fake bag that costs a fraction of what the original does.
Guys, Kamaya got her first fake designer.
These bags are identical, but one is real and one is fake.
This isn't even anything new. Looking rich or having a higher status is a tale as old as time. If I had to guess, I would say cavemen probably picked up expensive designer rocks just to impress the cave women. I have Gucci rock. But to me, as social media grows, it seems like we care more about what people think about us and we want to impress them more. And this especially seems like the case when things like super fakes become common.
This is real versus fake Gucci Jackie edition. This is the real bag, this is the fake bag. This is the real clasp, this is the fake clasp. This is the real material, this is the fake material.
Here's the thing I don't get. If you're buying, let's say a Louis, for example, you could at least say the material is really good, like you could justify it that way. But if you're buying a knockoff, the material is probably a fraction of the quality of these designer bags. So really the only justification is you're trying to have that status, or at least trying to pretend like you have that status. So really you're only buying it to look like you have money, which I don't know if that's a great justification. And for whatever reason, people are so obsessed with having this status that places them above other people, even if it's fake. And this is something you see a lot of with clothing. And funny enough, Costco took advantage of this urge to look rich and started selling products that looked eerily similar to Lululemon products.
Costco has these Lululemon aligned dupes by Danskin for $9.99 on sale right now. They're high rise, super soft, and even have side pockets. They come in blue, black, and brown in sizes extra small to 3X. At this price, get them in every color. Don't miss out and follow me for daily Costco finds.
So in this situation, I'm probably a little bit more torn because I don't assume that everybody is buying these just to look like they're Lululemon, but instead maybe they just like the design of them or the feel or the look. So this might not be exactly a flexing situation, but I do think there are parts of that. And by the way, this definitely is a legally questionable thing that's going on, which I'll talk about that more in a moment. But what I find interesting is the question that's being implicated by this, specifically the fact that people are drawing visual comparisons between this brand and Lululemon. So on the surface, it's supposed to be about saving money, but then the conversation quickly became about looking like you own Lululemon, or at least in certain situations I've seen that's the case. And now Lululemon is suing Costco because you can't tell the difference between these dupes and authentic Lululemon products.
Lululemon is suing Costco over its dupes. So let's break it all down. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. Lululemon just filed a 49-page filing, claiming that the warehouse chain is selling dupes of its best sellers. Customer confusion is real, the complaint says. Some customers incorrectly believe that these infringing products are authentic Lululemon apparel, while others specifically purchase the infringing products because they are difficult to distinguish from authentic Lululemon products.
So at this point, it seems clear that people want to look rich, but now I want to talk about why do we want to look rich? So there's a few reasons, with the most obvious one being that people innately want to be accepted, they innately want to present a higher status, and one way of doing that is by looking rich. But there's a few other less obvious reasons that I found pretty interesting. One of them being that people may want to appear rich to attract potential mates. And that's not my language, okay? That was what this study said. Which that I find really interesting, because if we were to go back in time 100 years and I were to tell people, hey, the way you attract a mate is by having a really cool handbag, they would probably spit on me and give me the black plague. There's also another psychological reason, which is where if people perceive their status as lower than others, they will consume items to restore standing. So they feel unbalanced and then they buy things to rebalance. Then there's also the social media aspect and how social media indirectly promotes this kind of behavior. And this is something you actually see a lot of with fake rich influencers. One example I can think of is the case of Mei Leung, who is an influencer who talks about how rich she is until she got exposed.
Let's count together how much money I got from my parents. 520, and I think that means I love you in Chinese. Basically was $8,888, which I think means good luck and like hi.
It was all a lie? Y'all, they saying this creator is faking about being rich.
Which I went more in depth in that in another video, and you can check out that video right here, so be sure to check this video out. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.